mean, Riley Cooper, I mean, like, that dude deserves a statue. I mean, like,
number one on your speed dial.
Hey, I'll tell you what, like, I mean, I didn't know until a couple days after the fact. I was like, wait a minute, is he the MVP or like we got the all-tournament team?
No doubt about it.
And then Ty Floyd, when I sure got 17, and like stole it from him. But I was like, when has a pitcher like been a part of like 5 of the 6 wins in Omaha? I mean, what a performance!
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. Yes, sir.
Sharp a little late, boys, at the spring game, obviously, as you can see. Couple of booze cruises here to do. Let's do it. Cruise. Grand salami to the boys. Finally back on track. And I got another one coming. Don't you think I don't? And that's how we roll in Tiger Stadium.
Just watching the spring games that were on television, one thing that jumped out about your squad is your quarterback room is very talented compared to a lot of the league and a lot of the country. I wonder, is it easier to recruit that position when you have talent or when you don't have talent? Coach Kelly, we're official.
Finally,
I'm
get a
telling
chance to meet you. Thought I had to get a private audience with the Pope. There's Jordy.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time.
Tearing up, answering the question, I thought, my God, if she gets offered this job, she's going to take it.
It's just a crazy, fun time at LSU right now. Isn't this what everybody loves?
From the boot to the east to the west coast, no matter where we at, we open up the phone lines, come and join the show. Make sure you tell your friends about Jordy Culotta Show. Yeah.
Let's go! Let's go!
All right. Nice start. Big day. Nice start.
It's the Jordy Culotta Show. Come have a good time.
Coach, it's great to meet you.
Thanks, sir.
Thank you for the time. Welcome in to a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show, as always, built by our friends over at RMB Builders. We are live on our campus here over at Click Here Digital, right here in Baton Rouge on Interline Avenue, setting up digital marketing plans for you. Online, clickheredigital.com. And remember, you can learn about our friends over at RMB by just logging online as well at rmb-builders.com. They're on Instagram at RMB Builders. Rhett can put you in a custom design home. He can redesign the one that you're in today. Get in touch with our guy over at RMB Builders, Rhett Bourgeois, doing fantastic work. Good show coming up for you. Andy Staples from On3 will be here in about 10 minutes. Staples on the road this morning. I believe he did his podcast from the same town that My Cousin Vinny was filmed in. We'll talk to him a little bit about that, but this Michigan scandal growing more evidence is not looking good for Harbaugh and the Wolverines. We will also talk to him a little bit about the national landscape and this weekend's matchups with LSU off, Alabama off. How about Florida and Georgia without Brock Bowers? What's that mean for the Bulldogs? We'll talk a lot about some other teams with Andy Staples coming up here in about 10 minutes. Brian Kelly was speaking with the media yesterday and gave some updates on his defensive back room, and you can see that Kelly's patience is running thin. It is not in a good place for the DBs. This is not where you want to be in your bye week going into Bama. we will hear from Kelly. We'll also hear from Jacques Doucet, who's the WAFB Sports 9 director over there at the CBS affiliate. He will be by here at 8 a.m. We'll talk to him a little bit about the legacy of this game, this Bama LSU game, and how he's seen it grow. Obviously, he's been over at WAFB for all of the matchups, especially the ones that were shifted into prime time back into 2011, and what it's meant not only for his sales team, but what it means with this last matchup being in prime time coming up next Saturday night. Remember, our phone lines are brought to you each and every day by Southern Regional Medical Center. Southern Regional Medical Center, real doctors, real solutions. Shout out to our crew, Charles Harvey, Jason Ramazan, and all the bunch over there at Southern Regional Medical Center, as we appreciate their support each and every day. All right, so Brian Kelly, man, you could see it real quick in yesterday's little post-practice presser that it was this defensive back room it's in a bind. This is 10, Stewie. Let's get right to it. As Kelly yesterday addressed the situation with the DBs and just where LSU is right now in practice week.
And as y'all try to figure out exactly what cornerback's going to look like for the Bama game and then moving forward, of course, as well, just what kind of progress are you seeing in terms of the whole secondary playing the ball in the air and getting better in that regard?
Well, I mean, I don't know what our interceptions were leading in the secondary, but we had, 3 interceptions in the back end of our defense. We got 2 or 3 PBUs. Clearly, against, Auburn, we played really good pass defense. And then Missouri, we had, a couple of interceptions there. So I think since we've settled on a structure defensively, I think we've seen the progress necessary to say that we're playing the ball much better in the air and we're making the kind of progress necessary. And we're going to have to be in that realm to continue the kind of success that we want to have. Our safeties are going to have to make plays and our corners are going to have to continue to make plays.
Again, you can see the stress. You can feel the anxiety coming through Brian Kelly as he addresses the room. He opened up yesterday's press conference talking about Zy Alexander and where that transfer cornerback stood right now after leaving the game on Saturday night versus Army.
Yeah, he's going to miss some time. He's got a lower body injury, so he'll miss some time. Mekhi Wingo has got a lower body injury. He's going to miss some time as well. So both those guys will miss some time. Right now, it's hard to say. Both of them are not practicing. We'll see what happens next week.
All right, so the story there, obviously, is Zy Alexander and Mekhi Wingo. Wingo is, someone who it seemingly has been playing with injury the last couple of weeks. When I heard his name off the practice list, again, I think that is a little stressing. I would expect him to be ready for next week. I don't expect Zy Alexander to go next week. I would
agree.
I mean, I would be shocked if Mekhi Wingo does not go next Saturday night, and they are just taking all of the precautions to make sure that is the plan, right? I mean,
was he in a walking boot or something last week?
I didn't know.
I don't know that.
I think it's a totality of injuries.
I think it's just
strain
accumulation of the season,
where he's been, because you didn't have a Mason Smith. And
he's been banged up.
He's just been grinding. And that's not, I don't think that's really surprising to anybody that Mekhi Wingo would play through it and then get to a point where it's like, Coach, I need I think I've earned some time off. Like you don't have to play against the Army, go into the bye week, and then get right for Bama, even if that get right is 80%. Because Mason Taylor's kind of in the same way where you can tell he's not 100%, but he's somebody that is going to play.
He's gutting it out.
Yeah, they're just gutting it out. So those are the type of guys that you want to have on your team, but also you got to recognize and be like, all right, Mekhi Wingo might need some time because he's been doing this since he got to LSU.
Right.
And the Zy Alexander thing feels like, we all saw it.
Yeah, that did not look good. And you could tell by the way that Kelly kind of addressed it that it was going to be more time away than being back. The Mekhi Wingo story though would be huge if he was to be out next Saturday night. I mean, that would be almost as big of a story as the concern around LSU's DB room. And you heard there with Zion Alexander, looks like he's going to be out. You heard the previous soundbite of Brian Kelly just kind of, addressing the state of the cornerback room. Stewie, one more for you. This is for a couple of guys that, you would expect this is what they were signed for to be active, but still right now, no sign of them.
Yeah, I know. Listen, I know a lot of people have questions about their status. All I can tell you is that they're on scholarship, they're enrolled in school, but right now they're not participating. They're still in the program, they're still in good standing, but they're not able to play right now. So let's leave it at that. Let's be patient, and we'll see what happens down the road.
So that is Kelly addressing the state of Denver Harris and Deuce Chestnut right now. And look, the way that I understand this is that both are still with the team, and I would expect Harris to be back at practice and in the lineup next week, not only just because it's desperate and a necessity, but, the numbers that you would travel with last week are dangerously thin in the sense of, if you were to lose somebody, you may have to shift somebody from the other side of the ball over. They are in such a bind and such a predicament from the personnel standpoint. And, look, this Deuce Chestnut and Denver Harris situation, they obviously have not been able to align themselves with the protocol of the program. And for whatever reason, it has been very much a roller coaster ride, for both of them, more for Harris. And, Chestnut has just been away from the team for an extended amount, and you're just kind of waiting to hear what the status is going to be. But, from Harris's standpoint, 1 week he's in, 1 week he's out. The next week he plays a series. The next week he doesn't play at all. The next week he's not dressed. The next week he's not practicing. It's been an incredible
Got him in that dime package though.
ride with Harris, and for whatever reason, it seems like it's kind of like what we were talking about with Mekhi Wingo and his physical toll. The toll of Harris is just either minor setbacks or
no pun intended.
Rules that he just can't follow. Whatever it is, it has been a sincere struggle for LSU football and Denver Harris to get on the same page. And I don't know what the resolution is at this point, because
But you're running out of time.
LSU, you would seemingly think that they have to have him. And whether he's playing good or bad or inconsistent, it's really not the point right now. It's just more that you need somebody there.
You need bodies.
Right. So,
and that's the same thing with Deuce Chestnut, which I think is more of the shocker. You know what you signed up for with Denver Harris. Like, you could see this was a possible avenue in which the season would go, where it's a constant tug of war between player and team and coach, and just trying to do this is how Brian Kelly coaches. Like, if you're not going to be on the team side of things, or if that's what it is, Brian Kelly has no problem waiting it out. And with Denver, that's kind of that was a possibility in this scenario. With Deuce Chestnut, I don't know what's going on there. Like, that's not somebody that I thought would have struggled to find playing time, first of all, and then kind of check out a little bit, it seems like, and not be with the team. And you need both. Even as what you saw Deuce, how you saw him play against Florida State, it doesn't matter now. Now you need warm bodies.
Right.
And he's a warm body that's on scholarship and was a freshman All-American.
Stu, let me know when we have Andy Staples, and he's just coming in through audio this morning. He's on the move, so he'll just be joining us through that link on audio. But Andy Staples from On3 will be here, and we'll talk to him about this weekend coming up. We'll also talk to him
Florida, Georgia.
His thoughts are about LSU and Alabama as that game will be coming up next Saturday night, but just an early preview from a national standpoint. But some other games, this weekend that could be interesting. As we mentioned, Georgia and Florida will definitely be one that we're paying attention to. Oregon and Utah seems like one that's going to be a very physical game out west with those two teams that are headlined really kind of by their defenses in a Pac-12, kind of high-flying league. Oregon and Utah still play pretty rugged football for as good as the quarterback play has been out west. As far as the games in conference go, we mentioned in Jacksonville and what's going on with the cocktail party. Tennessee is at Kentucky as far as an SEC matchup that is on the schedule this weekend. Mississippi State is at Auburn this weekend for another league game. South Carolina at Texas A&M. This is one for Texas A&M that if they don't win this game, it seems like the wheels could fall off for Jimbo this year. I mean, still, you got to cut a $70 million check. We can talk to Andy about that and see how real it is, because everybody I speak with, talk to over in College Station who covers A&M, I mean, it feels like it's over. I mean, it feels like people are just done with the Jimbo experience. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, you've kind of tapped out. You've kind of hit the ceiling. I mean, how much more can he provide? You've got 5 stars all over the place. You've opened up the checkbook as far as NIL, assistant coaches, all of what goes into supporting and being able to, put together a program that's competitive. Texas A&M has. That's why if that job opens up, I think it's going to be one of the most attractive jobs, out there. I mean, I know Lance Leopold's name is jumped up a lot for Michigan State. There's people around Arkansas that thinks that Arkansas might open up. I don't think that anybody right now, the problem is that nobody's stepping up to cut the $70 million check that it's going to take to buy out Jimbo.
Does this not feel like the Les Miles?
It's identical.
It's just
the modern day version of it. I mean, Miles's was, I believe it was like $15 million at the time. I mean, this was like early 2010s. I mean, it felt like $100 million. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, and nobody was willing to do any business with Joe Oliva back then. So, I mean, the thing it kind of disintegrated.
Right in front of you.
You just let him do what he did every year. You just kind of brought him back, and you knew what you were going to get. It was never going to be any good, and it was always going to feel like you should have fired him. You could have fired him, but you can't fire him.
Then he beats A&M at the end of the year, and you're like, oh, we'll carry him off the field.
Exactly.
And saves his job.
Just some, just things to it. All right, Andy Staples, who is with On3 and has a fantastic podcast. I was listening yesterday, and I was telling the audience, I believe it originated from the town that they filmed My Cousin Vinny in. But either way, we're going to catch up with Staples here. We got a little bit of time on this Wednesday morning. Andy, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Yes, I was in Eatonton, Georgia, coming home from Athens, and some news broke, and we figured, okay, I need to do a video to react to this news. And like, where am I going to do this? Well, apparently behind an Ingles supermarket in the woods in Eatonton, Georgia. It's a really nice backdrop for a video.
I bet it was awesome. All right, so Andy, let's jump right into it. I know we don't have a lot of time. You mentioned coming back from Athens. How much does Brock Bowers being out, how much does that make Georgia vulnerable going into this game this weekend with Florida?
I don't know how much it makes them vulnerable going into this game against Florida, but it makes them vulnerable going into this stretch because they've got to play Florida, Missouri, Ole Miss, and Tennessee all in a row. And the Florida part of it's probably the easiest. The Missouri and Ole Miss part of it is going to be pretty tough. And when you stack all of that together, and then you've got to go to Neyland Stadium after that, that's a really hard stretch to get through if you're not completely dominant. And then this Georgia team is really good and could win a national title, but it is not as dominant as the Georgia teams the past 2 years.
We were talking about Jimbo and A&M, and I think this is a huge matchup this weekend with Beamer and South Carolina coming in. It feels like the people I've talked to around College Station, and you've got great relationships over there as well, that like it's over. I mean, it kind of feels like Les Miles and LSU in the middle of like the 2010s, where there was so much of a buyout and you knew what you were going to get, and you just had to accept it, and it was miserable. That's what I feel when I talk to Texas A&M. What do you feel? What's going on with Jimbo, and how big is this one this weekend?
I think the difference is there's no, like in 2015, Les had a chance to kind of marshal his allies and get the governor on board and all that, because they decided to fire him, and then he had enough people getting behind him. But like, there won't be a Kirk Herbstreit coming out and saying you shouldn't fire this guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just all the money, and so they've got to figure out how to get people to pay for it. Because here's the other problem with this: it's going to be this next year. It's going to be this the year after that. It's going to be, and it's always going to be a lot of money. Like $76 million this year. It's $67 million next year.
Ugh.
So it's going to be a lot of money. You just have to decide when you want to rip the Band-Aid off. And like, if they lose to South Carolina, I don't think they'll have as many problems finding people to write the checks. But if they're, the rest of the year just okay and above average, and maybe they beat Ole Miss or beat LSU, then they'll go into next year and it'll be more of the same. It'll probably be exactly the same thing again, and they'll be sitting here at this point next season going, okay, do we pay $67 million? So I'm very curious to see, do they slip up somewhere? Because if they do, I think that's when they'll find the people willing to maybe write those checks. But it's an obscene amount of money. But I don't know what else you're going to do. Yeah. They think they should be winning national titles. They've got Texas coming into they've got to play Texas. Like, they don't want to play a really good version of Texas, and they're mediocre, paying a coach $9.5 million a year, and it feels like they're stuck in that forever. So I think something will happen sooner rather than later, because it kind of has to.
How good would a 12-team playoff be this season?
Oh, it'd be amazing. It would be amazing. Every week I do a hypothetical 12-team playoff on the show. We do it every Monday night. And it's crazy when you put the bracket together. I think the last couple weeks, I think I've had Texas playing at Ohio State in the first round. Like, come on. Right. I think this week I had Oregon playing at Alabama, or maybe Alabama playing at Oregon. I can't remember which one it was, but it's stuff like that. Because the goal in doing the hypothetical one is kind of retrain our brains so that we're ready next year when all this stuff's going on. But that, like, who's going to be 8?
Andy Staples on 3. Maybe going through a bad sell right now. We got him on a link right now. Make sure you're following him at Andy_Staples. Great podcast that you can listen to, always breaking down the weekend and the weekend games. He gives the picks. He's got the scenarios there with the 12 team. I wanted to get his thoughts on LSU, Bama, and Michigan. So let me know, Stewie, if he's gone for good. I don't know if we lost him. Andy, did we get you back there? Sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
For some reason, it cut me off. It said something about my firewall. So I don't know what kind of hacking you guys are doing there. Hopefully, the Pentagon's not involved. But
we learned from Michigan.
Yes.
Yes, exactly. I learned by watching you, Coach Harbaugh.
Does he survive this?
Well, I think he's going to try to get an NFL job anyway. So right. I would imagine he's still going to do that. As far as surviving this, I don't know, because, like, if he doesn't get an NFL job, you do want to keep him if you're Michigan. He's winning right now. So, like, do they lawyer up against the NCAA, or do they sacrifice? Because the thing now is, whether he knew or not, and the more that comes out, it strains believability that everybody in the building didn't know. But even if he didn't know, the way the NCAA rules are written now, they can still get him for it, because they say the head coach is responsible for everything in the operation. So my guess is they stack that on top of the thing that they were already investigating him for. And remember, he served a 3-game Michigan-imposed suspension for that recruiting thing. I guess I would imagine they're going to try to hit him pretty hard on this thing, and then and Michigan has to make the choice. Do you back him and just lawyer up and say, we're not getting rid of him, we're not doing that? Or do you say, well, I guess we're going to have to make a change? I really don't know. I cynical me says when you're winning like this, the school's going to back you.
10 days out, what do you think of the LSU-Bama game?
I can't wait for it because I have no idea what's going to happen. Because I have no idea what version of Bama is going to show up. Like, I was at the Tennessee-Alabama game on Saturday, and I watched for one half an Alabama team that could lose to pretty much anyone in the SEC, and then another half an Alabama team that could win the national title. And it's wild because it varies from half to half and quarter to quarter. And so what they've got to do is slow down LSU's offense somewhat because – LSU's secondary has been the problem all year. Jalen Milroe, the best thing he does is throw the deep ball. Like, I got a feeling Alabama's going to be able to score. It's just a matter of can they slow down LSU enough? Because I think nobody's going to stop LSU's offense at this point. They are going to get some points. But do you keep them from scoring like they did against Ole Miss and Missouri and basically everybody else they've played in the past few weeks? I think Alabama can slow them down a little bit. I think some of those plays where Jaden Daniels scrambles and saves them on a third down to set up other stuff down the road, I think Alabama can deal with that a little bit better than say Missouri can.
What have you made of Jaden Daniels' play this season?
No, he's been awesome. I think since the Florida game last year, he's been very in command of that offense, and you can tell he's really comfortable. And I mean, playing with those receivers, it's got to be fun. So he's been amazing, and the numbers a lot of the numbers he's put up, he's had to because the defense has given up so many points. But if he keeps it up, he's at this point he's going to New York. It's just a matter of whether he's going to win it or not.
Last one, Andy. We'll get you out of here. How bad is it in Arkansas? How bad is it in Fayetteville?
It's bad. 3 points against Mississippi State. Now, clearly they want to give Sam Pittman a chance. And this is one of those that I always tell people that, if you're 12-0 or 0-12, it doesn't matter how you treat people. But if you're somewhere in the middle, then people have to think about it if they like you. And everybody likes Sam Pittman. Nobody wants him to get fired. And so you see them giving him a chance to say, hey, you fired Danny Enos as the offensive coordinator. Give it a try with Kenny Guyton. And if this works, then hopefully we can bring you back another year and everything can get back to where we want it to be. The question is, will it work? Do they bounce back? They're off this week. They're at Florida next week. Then they've got LSU, they've got FIU, they've got Ole Miss. I think he's probably okay if he can win a couple of those, like win Florida and FIU, but that's not going to be easy. So I don't know what you like if they keep losing and FIU's the only game they win the rest of the year. It's going to be hard at the end of the season, even though everybody likes him.
Make sure and check out the Andy Staples podcast on 3. It is a must listen. It's a great recap, and the picks have been pretty good too. Whether you're fading or whether you're following,
better.
They're getting better, no doubt. They're getting better.
I had the 0-8 week, but much better since.
That's right. LSU's defense is bouncing back as well. Andy, it's great to hear from you. We'll touch base soon. Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
All right, man. There he is, Andy Staples, checking in this morning from On3. You can check out the podcast. It's a cool listen, especially from a national perspective. If you want to give it a chance over with our friends at on3.com. That conversation brought to you by Go Roof. Remember, online at GEAUXroof.com. GEAUXroof.com. A beautiful roof every single time when you shop with our friends over at Go Roof. 927-8300, 225 area code 927-8300. Get a 2-year free workmanship guarantee with all new roof installations when you give our friends over at Go Roof a shot. That is residential roofing, commercial roofing, and roofing repairs. Boys are licensed and insured, been around for over 15 years. Give them a call today. They'll be on the roof today, 225-927-8300. If you have any concerns, if you have a problem with what's going on up there, if you think you have a leak, if you have something that you just want to have diagnosed, let Go Roof to jump up on the roof and check it out. They'll work with the insurance company, so they'll take the headaches out there. and make it easy for you. 225-927-8300. Roof repair, roof installations, or maintenance on residential, commercial, all of it. Go Roof can handle it. Online, GEAUX roof.com. A beautiful roof every single time. Roofs up with our friends over at Go Roof. GEAUX roof.com. All right, more from Brian Kelly yesterday. And this is 9, Stewie. And this is the soundbite, and this is the issue. This is the story, I think, that everybody's going to be concerned, watching, paying attention to over the next 10 days is going to be the status of Mekhi Wingo. Look, you're not going to be able to field a defensive backfield that you have any confidence in over the next 10 days. Whether Denver Harris, Deuce Chestnut, J.K. Johnson, and Zy Alexander are all cleared to play, I still don't have the confidence that they are going to be able to go over there and put together any plan on the back end that they're going to make plays, because they hadn't done it all year. I mean, so whether it's Sage Ryan, whether it's LaTerrence Welsh, whether it's Javion Taviano, I mean,
Patrick Peterson, Corey Webster.
Whoever, I mean, I wish I could do a retro draft.
Just need you for one game.
One game. I mean, one game. Just give me the 2011 defensive backfield for one game right now at their age.
Know. Who would notice?
I mean, Tyron, what is Tyron? 30, 31?
Yeah.
Eric Reed, 31.
Eric Reed's younger brother.
Morris Claiborne. Ron Brooks.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I'd take Ron today.
I'd take all of them at 30.
You think so, Ron?
I'd take every single one of them at 30 plus in this game.
Would you take Corey Webster?
Oh, are you kidding me? Yes. I'd take Corey Webster and Travis Daniels. I hadn't laid eyes on Travis Daniels since he played with the Chiefs.
But I just got a feeling.
But I'll take him right now, sight unseen.
I'll take Harry
I think
Coleman.
he's a photographer.
Ooh, the hitman.
I know he's in shape.
I'd take Brandon Taylor right now. I know he can play.
Yep. Oh, BT would. He strapped that thing up right now
Oh,
today.
yeah, he would be the most excited.
You said Bama?
I'll drive the bus there.
Sleeps in his helmet.
The 3 strap.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're not. I've got zero confidence of LSU's defensive backfield anything happening that is going to shift the meter. That you're like, okay, all right,
Yeah, we go there.
Here we go.
Got a little,
Here we go.
Put Malik at DB.
You're gonna have a tight stomach the entire night when Milroe's back, because that is. I mean, like as Andy said, that is the one thing he can do. I mean, he can
throw that deep ball.
he can throw it.
That's
I saw him
what's
throw that
crazy.
He can
ball.
throw it,
They're-
man.
they're so-
you might as well drop 14 on the snap.
They're so inconsistent offensively, but the one thing that they do well
It's that
is
deep ball.
LSU's kryptonite. You're going to see somebody running naked behind LSU's defensive backfield, and you're like, well, there's 7,
Well.
there's 14, there's 21, and you're going to have to just hold on for your dear life. This is going to be a 8 seconds of hell if you're riding
Yeah.
the bull, where you're just
Dude,
like, oh god.
That's why you gotta have Wingo.
Yeah.
I mean, you
You
gotta have
gotta get
Mason
some
Taylor.
pressure.
You gotta have pressure, man. You've got to get pressure, and I mean, but it still gives you anxiety because he gets out of the pocket, they struggle in tackling. But this
Andre
also does set up. It also does set up, and I've seen this, and I'm sure we all have in competition, where it sets up an opportunity for someone out there to either make a name for yourself, make a play, or shut everybody up. Really. I mean, these moments are what really makes sports great. I mean, these are the moments what make sports what they are.
That's why you play.
Right? I mean, like, there is undoubtedly going to be someone we have not talked about in a long time, have not talked about thoroughly, have not talked about consistently, that's going to make a play or either cost LSU in a huge spot that is going to create a moment for that person, maybe even multiple with as many spots as LSU's got on the table. So, I mean, we've talked about LaTerrence Welsh. We've talked about Ashton Stamps. Hell, we've talked about Taviano. We've talked about, I mean,
Kylan Jackson.
He's mentioned Jeremiah Hughes.
Yeah.
Kylan Jackson. At some point next Saturday night, somebody is going to be presented an opportunity that they have not had. And it's either you make it or you don't. You sink or you swim.
Oof.
And we have seen people in these moments be able to catch their footing and make plays. We've also seen people get, exposed and run out. So there is going to be incredible opportunity for someone next Saturday night, maybe multiple people next Saturday night, on a huge stage in a huge game and a one that, can build confidence on. But here is Brian Kelly speaking about Mekhi Wingo and the status of his defensive tackle.
Wingo?
No, not really. I mean, he's been playing, with, a nagging injury, and we just need to get him right. We'll see where it takes him, but he's been playing injured here for the last probably 2-3 weeks, and getting him in a position where he physically can play at the level he needs to is the most important thing.
So when I heard that soundbite that Wingo's been playing hurt, it would lead me to believe that he would play next Saturday night.
Yep.
At whatever his status is.
Had to give him that week off.
As much time as he needs take it, man.
That's 3 weeks.
But come Saturday night next week, he's got to be ready to go. He's got to be ready to go. Same goes for Emory Jones. I mean, really. I mean, when you're talking about, just his status.
Notice he's not even in the injury report.
Yeah,
NOLA.
right.
Emory's like, I'm playing against Bama.
One more from Kelly on the DBs here. Stewie, this is 6 of him talking about the youth in that room.
I would say that they're in the mix. Ashton Stamps should be ready to go. LaTerrence Welch.
There he is.
All those guys will be, certainly part of our rotation. We feel like all of them are capable of playing championship football. So it's our job to get them ready. And they're excited. We're excited about working with them, and we expect them to play well for us.
So we'll see, man. Big spot. I mean, if you'd have told a lot of these guys that, a couple of weeks ago, or even someone like Ashton Stamps or Taviano or Hughes, hey, man, next season, if you were, you're talking to them last year in their senior year, fast forward 1 year, you'll be starting against Alabama, or you'll be put into the game against Alabama for LSU. That's a lot of. It's probably a lot of nerves. It's a lot of butterflies that you're probably riding into Tuscaloosa. But one hit, one play, next thing you know, you're in a football game.
You're here.
That's all it is.
Here, coach.
Right? I mean, it's just different colors, a lot more people, a lot more, money on the sidelines. But, I mean, it's just.
Still football. It's
what you signed up for.
If you didn't have Ashton Stamps healthy, where do you turn?
Toviano
I don't,
Hughes.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't. I don't know what you would do. I mean, without having to shift somebody's position.
Because it's Sage Ryan right now.
What would you do?
On one side, and it was Alexander.
But you've already shifted his position.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. And then it was Alexander was at least somebody that you penciled in every week at corner.
Like, make no mistake about it. Like, this is the stuff that has to be addressed right now for the next recruiting cycles. Because if you look ahead to LSU's roster, and while it's easy to glorify Emory Jones and Will Campbell and Shelton Sampson and Garrett Nussmeier and guys at DJ Chester that we've seen, young guys that are playing, that Harold Perkins in a third season. You look at that defensive backfield next year, and it's scary what could be.
Be a lot of freshmen,
and they are not trending in the right direction in overall recruiting. I know that they picked up a commitment last night from Causey, from Bernard Causey out of New Orleans, which was a huge flip from Ole Miss. And to pick up a Louisiana DB first and foremost is a huge win for the room. But they have to be able, at LSU, to be able to throw a net and be able to pull back some high-level defensive backs. And that has just not been the case. I mean, the fact that Wardell Mack will not return a phone call or come on campus is inexplicable and borderline fireable offense. And that's just being honest about the evaluation of the job. And to be completely honest, missing 3 years in a row on the top defensive back in the state whether it's Jacoby Matthews, Derek Williams, and Wardell Mack, whether it's in a coaching change or not at LSU is inexplicable. It cannot happen. And even more when you have playing time to give. So I am confident, I know, in speaking with some people that are, in these positions, that those wheels are in motion. Those things have to happen. You have to find what and people that can be trusted to bring people in and develop them. I mean, that is the name of the game. Everything else is fluff. Everything else is for show. Everything else is for recruiting and for, can you get them here? And then once they get them on campus, can you evaluate where they suit best, where they play best, and then develop that guy? Because, really, when you talk about recruiting, it's not always the guy that has to win in the living room. Dave Aranda didn't win in the living room. Dave Aranda won on campus when you got them here and put them in a film room. And he told you how he was going to use you. And he compared you to what you can look at and the player that has come before you and developed and now in the NFL getting paid. Aranda hates recruiting, in all honesty, but he knows he's got to be valuable in that part of the game to be a high-end coach. And the way he is he says, hey, look, Frank Wilson, Corey Raymond, Cortez Hankton, Brad Davis, these guys that can go into the living room and dominate, right? Eat all of the home cooking, make all the relatives smile. Not only do the moms love him, but the uncles want to hang out with him. And the brother-in-laws want their number so they can give him the real inside information of what's going on in the home and what's going on with the decision makers. And, hey, man, you might want to let somebody like Dave Aranda get this guy and put him in a film room, and you'll really win the recruiting war. Okay, thanks, man. I appreciate that information. And so you bring this 5-star back to a film room and put him into a room that you can say, hey, look, this is what you're going to do. This is how we're going to use you. These are the people that have come before you. This is who we think you comp to. This is all of what we have laid out ready for you. Okay, now I'm coming here because of that guy who you didn't meet in the living room. The brother-in-law doesn't know him. The mom hadn't even really met him yet. But you just talked football with him, and that's why you're going there. Recruiting is this big ecosystem. Not everybody has the same skill set. It's a lot like your business, a lot like your sales team, I'd imagine, where you've got somebody that goes in and kind of breaks down that initial wall. What are your needs? What are your wants? What are your pains? How can we help? Then you come back to a team and you're like, hey, look, this is what they need. Let's disperse this expert. Let's put this person on it. Right? You've got to be able to recruit to a room. And I'm not throwing shade. I'm not trying to throw any bad feelings at Robert Steeples. But when you look at the defensive back room, there's not a lot of high power guys coming in consistently. And then when they get here, the development's not there. That has to happen at a program like LSU. And whether you can win the living room and bring them back in, you got to bring them back into a DB coach that you can sell, that you can say, hey, look, man, this guy's put X, Y, and Z into the NFL. Or when they got to LSU, they couldn't backpedal and chew gum at the same time. When they left, he was a first-team All-American. That's what LSU is missing right now at certain spots. And you cannot miss on the top defensive back in Louisiana 3 years in a row if you're LSU. It's off the table. It's a non-negotiable. It's a fireable offense. And not just to the DB room. You've got questions to answer as the DC, as the head coach. That's a brand at LSU. They sell merchandise with DBU and purple and gold on it. And it's not because of the scheme, and it's not because of what's on the side of the helmet. It's always been because of the players, because of the dudes, because of the guys, because of Curtis Taylor, because of LaRon Landry, because of Jesse Daniels, because of Eric Reed, because of all of them. I mean, we could be here until 10 a.m., but you got to get them. I mean, Derek Williams is not at LSU? How? Jordan Gilbert's not at LSU? How? Wardell Mack is not considering LSU? How? They've got the golden ticket to sell. You got playing time. They got to be able to patch that up, man.
Right, and you just see where new head coach, new regime, where the priorities lie, because how often is the LSU offensive line this good, or the offense this good? It's just kind of seeing it flipped in a sense. Now, would you want them to marry the two? Absolutely. But what he's done, what the new staff has done well, it's just the second best offense in LSU history, and I never thought I'd see one as good as I saw in 2019. If that doesn't exist, this would be the best LSU offense of all time.
Katie's Restaurant down in New Orleans brings you every day here, the Jordy Culotta Show. We appreciate them as always. Katie's on Iberville Street, right in the heart of Mid-City. Find them online, katiesinmidcity.com. Great New Orleans favorites on the menu every single day. Coldest beer in town, great service. TVs everywhere. You'll never miss a play. Diamondbacks and Rangers in the World Series this year. Who had that?
Oh, I had a Phillies future that died in my hands last night.
MLB got to be hating that one, right?
That was brutal. The Phillies fans are. That's just what I wanted. I wanted to see them in the World Series. They're
epic.
They tried to will a comeback last night, and then whenever Bryce Harper popped one up, he just missed it. It looked like it was going to be okay.
He did the same thing in the fourth.
I know. He missed two. God. And
rough off season for
But
Brycey.
before that, they had a camera in the outfield with the Philly fans, and it could have been a riot. If
was last night.
If that ball goes over the fence, there might be multiple people in jail.
Hit up our people over at Katie's Restaurant down in New Orleans if you want to catch World Series action, if you want to check out NFL action. They're open on Sundays, 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. 10 a.m. until 6 p.m. on Sundays with 6 new televisions installed over there at Katie's. If you want to check them out, katiesinmidcity.com. Good Lord, I'm watching Myles Garrett jumping boxes here.
He is a freak show.
Look at that. Is that 50 inches? I mean, what? Holy.
How tall is he?
Cow.
Look at him explode. Good Lord. I mean, a freak show.
That is scary, man. I mean, just to give you context, I don't want to give you this picture that you can't look at. Myles Garrett we're watching the NFL Network. We've got one of our monitors on the NFL Network, and they're showing Myles Garrett's. This is in season. I mean, he's jumping boxes inside the Cleveland Browns facility. And I mean, Myles Garrett is, how tall is Myles Garrett? 6'4"? 6'5"?
6, maybe 6.
I mean, he's standing straight up, and the boxes are coming to above his chest.
It's a 60-inch box jump.
And he is squatting down and jumping this and putting both of his heels on the boxes.
Oh, he's landing flat-footed on it.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Wow.
He's testing the limits of what a human being can actually do.
That is freaky. Freaky.
I mean, he's all natural. It's like a superhero.
I mean, he's been that big since
He's always
A&M.
been that guy.
Yeah, he was that big in high school.
I know, I'm just saying.
So he just has
I wonder what the regimen is.
That man probably just has good genetics.
I mean, he's probably, he's in his physical prime.
Yeah.
Right now.
I mean,
I mean, what is he, like 28?
He's 26.
Oh,
we're the same age. So, yeah.
You got 4 more years of that.
I mean, yeah, you probably have longer.
Yeah.
I mean,
he'll probably be doing this at least till he's 32.
He's a LeBron type athlete.
I was about to say, if he was on a different team, you would be talking about.
the Browns won.
Oh, I know.
They have a good defense, too.
Yeah. But I'm saying it feels like that.
Yeah, they're going to let you down.
Yeah, they're
going to let you down.
Look who the quarterback is. Like, the quarterback is good for an interception a game.
He's hurt.
Is he knocked out?
I guess he's in.
He's got AC. He has a shoulder sprain.
But then they
how you
sounds
rehab,
like 4 to 6.
You know how you rehab that?
Masseuse, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, but they knocked him out Sunday.
And then you had the Brady Quinn scenario where he called him a trust fund baby because he got the contract that was guaranteed. And they're like, Brady Quinn, if anybody screams trust fund baby.
I mean, he's not lying, though.
Right. No, I mean, that's the thing you have to.
It's easy to believe that Deshaun Watson out getting paid and then signing a lucrative contract has taken away the competitive edge.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't think that when it's cold and he gets knocked down, and
why do I have to get back
you're
up?
like, you know what? I might have an AC sprain.
I think I earned my money today.
That's right.
Oh, wait, already did. It's already in the bank.
All right, Jacques going to be here in hour 2. We'll get back to a little bit of this Bama talk. We'll talk to him about the state of these pressers. As Kelly, you can see the anxiety growing around his defensive backfield. And like we said, I mean, look, to quote Rick Pitino in the famous Boston Celtics press conference, I mean, Kevin McHale, Larry Bird, Robert Parrish walking through that door. I mean, you look at LSU's DB room, and I mean, Matthew, Claiborne, and Peterson aren't walking through that door. I mean, hell, you don't even have Mills, Lawston, and Harold Simon walking through that door.
Where's Seven Banks?
Where is Seven Banks?
I don't know what Seven Banks is doing with himself.
Where's Mekhi Garner? I mean, those guys have to be looking at. That's why if you're Mason Smith, there is cautionary tales to look at, man. I mean, now look, if Mason Smith turns up the heat and he closes out this season against Alabama, Florida, A&M, goes into a bowl game, has a stellar performance, maybe he jolts himself up because he is going to be that guy that goes to the combine and people are going to be like, oh my God, just God doesn't make people look like that. I mean, he is freaky. For as big and as easy as he moves, he might be best suited to be a left tackle, if we're being honest. You know what I mean? I mean, I would look at a guy like Andrew Whitworth and be like, I might take that career. 20 years, Super Bowl, multi-million dollars, and now, the face of the NFL network. But either way.
If he ends up flipping positions, that would be the biggest shock of all time.
It would never happen. Right. But I'm saying, he's that type of athlete.
The career would have to go so south. And then it would have to be in the NFL.
But you could look at these guys. Garner, I believe he went undrafted. I think he made the Eagles. He made the Eagles practice squad. Maybe. I don't know. Somebody have to check me on that.
Cordell says he played last week with the Eagles.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But I know that he did not. The draft didn't.
He didn't get drafted.
Right.
Right. I mean, he's a good enough player where he's fought himself into a roster spot, and good for him. I think if you would ask him like, hey, if you come back, you might be a 4th or 5th round pick. You want to take that route? Maybe he doesn't. I mean, you're already with a team. But just, guys that you are not getting drafted, you can't lose in a room that you must have. I would even look at like Dwight McGlothern.
Definitely.
I mean, that would be tough if you're LSU's DB's coach to be like, would we run this guy off for?
Yeah.
Because what? Because he was late to the first coach. I get it. You're trying to establish, but I mean, at some point we got to evaluate the roster. Right? And I mean, the DBs that they are traveling to Alabama with it's dangerous. I mean, it's dangerously thin. It's way past dangerously inexperienced. And, I mean, just hoping you need Mekhi Wingo to be healthy because they need to be able to get Milroe to the ground and put pressure on him.
And that's the saving grace of this game, I would imagine, because if you went into it without Isaiah Alexander and you look at the DBs and how kind of the back end is played, you would be nervous. But Alabama's front has not been good. And if LSU can get pressure on the quarterback, that's one way to alleviate some of these things because you have guys that can get home. You just have to be able to get them to the ground. But Alabama's offensive line is not what it used to be or usually is. Now,
no, they're bad.
They're bad.
I mean, they're real bad.
And they'll be good.
I mean, they're worse than the league bad.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So you have, if you can get a Mason Smith, like a game of the year type performance where it's starting to trend in that direction where he's playing better. The defensive line is playing better all because of, it feels like Pete Jenkins really did make a difference. Where,
absolutely he did.
And I know, it's such a weird thing to have to even comment on. It's like, he didn't have a D-line coach. Now you see what the difference a coach can make. And you see Mason Smith, like, it feels like they're just playing a little bit freer. They're not having to think as much.
No.
And so if you get them against an Alabama front, you might be able to get some pressure. And if you don't let LSU get going first, because they're hard to keep up with if you let them get a lead. That's where LSU hasn't been able to really start fast lately, or that's what you would want to happen. But whenever they do start fast, you can see why. Oh, God, because if you're down 14, you might as well be down 28.
Yeah, it feels like you're down 100.
Right, because once it gets going, it's hard to stop.
All right, remember our friends over at Click Here Digital, experienced full-service digital marketing company. Got 30 years of success driving incredible results for clients, and we tell you all the time, whether you're in automotive, legal, medical, we can help out with your digital marketing plan. So much experience, got a great team, 120 employees under the roof over here, got 150 in total. Bunch of them working remote, not only around the country, but around the world. Click Here Digital. It shocks everybody when they find the place. They come in, they're like, whoa, this is in Baton Rouge? This is wild. It's right here on Interline. In between Airline and Drusilla. Check us out online, clickheredigital.com. Want a direct contact, you can email me, jordy@clickheredigital.com. But what do y'all do? We set Google ads, do social media ads. We can handle your content and all of your creative for you if you would like. Help you out with your YouTube and YouTube television. We have a direct line with Hulu and ESPN to set digital ads as well. So really anything you can think of from a digital marketing spend, Click Here Digital is here to help. ClickHereDigital.com is where you can find us online, or you can email us. You can email me directly, Jordy@ClickHereDigital.com. Hour 2 next, Jacques is going to be in his regular Wednesday spot. We'll talk to Jacques about the bye week, about LSU Bama coming up here in prime time on CBS, WAFB. We'll be housing this game for the final time on an incredible run with CBS and SEC. We'll talk to Jacques a little bit about the business of that and what it means for this game to be back kind of in this spot at 6:45 and the buildup of it. Come back with us, hour 2. Remember, if you have not hit that like button, that thumbs up button, and you're watching right now, do us a solid. We try to get to about 100 an hour if we can. We also urge you, if you're watching right now and you have not subscribed, to just click on that subscription button for us if you don't mind. And if you like the content, you like what you see, all you got to do is hit that bell. And you can keep up with whenever we go live, you'll be notified. We appreciate all the interaction, all the support, and you being here with us every day. Come back with us. Hour 2, built by RMB Builders, right after this.
Don't be afraid.
Red Stick Sports, a local staple in Baton Rouge to all sports fans, was founded back in 1981 and has remained a family business for over 40 years. Today, they still have the great selection on the floor, but they're also a leader in custom apparel for businesses, sports teams, and other groups. Take it from us, everybody over here at FM Digital Media. They help us out with all of our apparel. Let them help you out today. Go ask for Cody over at Red Stick Sports. Check him out online at redsticksports.biz.
The Jordy Culotta Show is brought to you by A-Bears Lawn Maintenance. Commercial or residential, A-Bears Lawn Maintenance is ready to work. A-Bears can tackle all your homeowners association requirements. Call Blake at 225-485-8022. A-Bears Lawn Maintenance.
In a wreck, Gordon McKernan Injury Attorneys is ready to go to work for you. Come meet your team.
I'm your intake specialist. I coordinate your case and connect you with your attorney and paralegal.
That's us, your legal team.
Thanks.
And we'll fight to get you every dollar you deserve.
I'm your settlements and disbursement manager, and I'm here to get you paid on time.
I'm attorney Gordon McKernan. Put our team to work today. Just call us. Get it done.
Hey Tiger fans, when you're traveling through Natchez, Mississippi, make sure to visit Tom and Wright Granning at Go Mart and On the Go Deli, where you can fill up your tank and your belly. Go Mart has clean restrooms, community coffee, an awesome beer cave, and a great selection of anything you may need on your trip. Located at 4 Sergeant Prentice Drive as you're entering Natchez on the left. Also stop by Wardo's Po' Boys at 309 North Broadway on the beautiful Natchez Bluff, where the Po' Boys are so good you'll swear you're in Cajun country.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
Missing us! Let's be special! Let's be strong! Let's spell greatness from the top! 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
A real passion of mine is ACL injuries, but not just really in the treatment of ACL injuries, but how do we keep them from happening? So right here at Ochsner, we're doing some research studies on ACL injury prevention. We're working with some of our high schools, and we're testing different functional tests for athletes. And we're trying to identify people that are at risk for ACL tears. We're trying to catch them before those ACLs happen. And then we want to intervene with some injury prevention programs. And that's something that, being part of Ochsner Andrews Institute, and we can continue on that research. We can expand the impact of that research. We can bring that to more athletes in our community.
If you're in the market for a mortgage lender, you need to start with Doug Bickley and his team. Bickley has built a crew with over 50 years of combined lending experience. They've been in business for over 20 years, and they love helping their clients achieve the American dream of home ownership. They're also key with working in real estate agents and helping their clients getting same-day pre-approval. They average about one buyer a day getting them in a home. If you want to get in touch with Doug and his crew, it's easy. Call them 225-214-5154. 225-214-5154. Go see the Bickley team today. They're located on the corner of Coursey Boulevard and Sherwood Forest right here in Baton Rouge.
What's up?
What's happening?
Chilling with a couple of cool guys. You?
Chilling and watching some tube. Hold on.
Did you do it?
Hold on. Did you do it?
Roof's up.
Hold on.
Roof's up?
Roof's up!
Roof's up!
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Beautiful roof every single time.
True. True.
At Ochsner, we know healing is a team sport. That's why we've partnered with world-renowned orthopedic surgeon Dr. James Andrews to create the Ochsner Andrews Orthopedics and Sports Medicine Institute. Whether you're a professional athlete or a weekend warrior, our team of specialists are dedicated to getting you back in the game. So whatever your reasons are for reaching your personal best, we've only got one. You. Ochsner Andrews Institute. Long live you.
You can't put the cart before the horse. That'd be like, will you marry me?
Do I know you?
Never sign a contract with a roofer before he gets on your roof. Call Go Roof instead. We offer a free, no-obligation inspection. A beautiful roof every single time. Bobby, goes in the front.
Roof, roof, Go Roof.
Offensive player of the game from LSU, Joe Burrow.
Football is life. Football is Joe Burrow.
Click Here Digital, the home of the Jordy Culotta Show. Online at clickheredigital.com. If you're looking to set Google ads, set social media campaigns, learn about SEO, display video, or even creative, Click Here Digital has the answer for you. Online at clickheredigital.com or email me directly, Jordy at clickheredigital.com.
Well, the Ochsner Andrews Sports Medicine Institute collaborative effort was an idea from Dr. Andrews and myself to bring together two great names, the Andrews name and the Ochsner name, to elevate the quality of care for athletes in the state of Louisiana, where he's from.
I always thought I would come back to Louisiana and practice orthopedics with my subspecialty being sports medicine. This was an opportunity through Ochsner's to come back and work the entire state to help develop and take sports medicine to a new level.
As an orthopedic surgeon, what this means in the future in terms of, access for our community to the type of care that Dr. Andrews pioneered, words can't describe how valuable that is.
Ochsner has a great opportunity here to really grow, and Dr. Burnham, of course, is the mainstay of making that happen. If you want to have first-class sports medicine care, check in with Dr. Burnham and his group, and you'll be more than impressed and pleased.
All right, welcome back here. Jordy Culotta Show, as always. We are built by RMB Builders. Hour 2 here, live from Click Here Digital, getting set for the bye weekend. We will have some more coverage for you coming up today and tomorrow as we'll close out the week for you on Friday. We'll have our regulars here. Ben Mint's been on fire in college. 3-0 in college last weekend. Again, I mean, like, if you're following Mintz, you're making money. Come back with us on Friday. Make sure and tell a friend. Mintz's six-pack has been scorching hot. I'm telling you, his college plays have been, I mean, he's on fire.
He's been on fire in the NFL, too. At least up to, I haven't checked for this week, but he's been, I think, 3-1-1 the last 2 weeks. So you're just he's sitting at almost a 70% clip. It doesn't happen.
He's firing at him right now. I mean,
and then they were talking about him on Barstool the other day because they were trying to get him to go to the Chicago office. He's like, "Well, I have to go to these football games." And they were when Barstool came in for the LSU game, they were all like, they've been doing, a bunch of work, whatever, trying to get the Chicago office ready. And he's like, "I've been to 15 football games this year." They're like, "Nice, Ben. We're working our ass off." But that's the Ben's pleasantry.
That's right. The
Ben charm.
So make sure and check him out on Fridays as we'll shuffle Jacques in here as hour 2 coming. Actually, remember, every day we're brought to you by RMB Builders, rmb-builders.com. Looking forward to getting Jacques here, his thoughts on bye week, Bama week, this game, what it means, CBS, WAFB, the relationship, as it is, it's wild that this game really it elevated Jacques, I thought. Good morning, buddy. Good to see you.
Good morning. How's everyone doing today?
All right. I thought that this game really kind of elevated not only LSU and Alabama's football brand here for the 2010s into the 2020s, but elevated the SEC. Like, I mean, you really saw SEC become a dominant football program and conference during this primetime run of LSU Bama. Obviously, you've had a front row seat of it being over at WAFB and the CBS affiliate. What did it mean when this game was announced primetime? I guess you guys, do you have any kind of lead in on that? Do you have a feeling on it? Because we were talking about it on Monday. We expected it to be a Saturday night matchup.
It used to be CBS got a chance to put one game in primetime per year, and it was always this game. I think that changed. They put Georgia and somebody in prime time. I think they're in maybe 21 or something like that, 2021. For those of you who don't know, this is CBS's last year with the SEC. So it's kind of like
bittersweet.
It's like one last time, right? Putting LSU and Alabama in prime time. First time I can remember was at 6:45. I don't know if they get everyone to watch at 6:45 and it's a 15-minute pregame and then we kick it off at 7. Those kickoff times are never what they say they are. They say 6 o'clock and then it's 6:09.
It's like going to the movie theater.
Yeah, exactly. Lloyd, that's why you're here.
Exactly. Thank
Brilliant.
you, sir.
20 minutes of trailers, right?
Yes. Finish my popcorn.
So, and although it was an awful memory for LSU fans, the 2011 national championship game played in 2012, I think that had been referenced a lot, the greatness of the SEC, because how many guys that played in that game made it to the NFL on both teams. So, I mean, Saban has been in the league since 2007 at Alabama, and I mean, you can go down the line how many of those LSU-Alabama games were played on CBS in prime time. I mean, I remember, I think it was 2011, CBS had already burned their primetime game. And I remember Tim Brando was still at CBS at the time, and him and some other people kind of giving us some insight that they're going to put that game at night. That was the game of the century,
right.
2011. And they made a deal, I think, that LSU the next year would get it in prime time. In 2012, that was the gut-wrenching screen pass that Alabama won that game. So, yeah, it's been and it's not rocket science. LSU has been to the SEC championship game 4 times since Nick Saban became the head coach at Alabama, and all 4 times they've had to beat Alabama. It's that simple. You don't win the game, you don't go to the SEC championship. And here they are again. It's pretty simple. It's not definite, but it's pretty definite. You don't win this game, it's the fork in the road between a good season and perhaps a great season if you can beat Alabama.
Yeah. What do you make of Kelly? You can see he is stressing this defensive back room.
When he gave you your flowers as the president of CBS.
Right, the president of CBS.
Well, in my first move, I'm canceling Big Brother. And no. I'm definitely going to let Sportsline preempt Stephen Colbert so we can go to 11 o'clock. Those are my first 2 moves. I don't dislike Big Brother. It's great for revenue, right?
That's right.
The station. More
you
Yellowstone.
The sales team off. I mean, your first move.
Let's have Yellowstone. Yeah, let's have Yellowstone all the time. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, president of CBS. I appreciate it, Coach Kelly. You've got 2 guys. It's very mysterious. I don't think it's as mysterious with Denver as it is with Deuce. Deuce is kind of, what is this thing? What is going on here? Yeah. So you got 2 guys there that are not even practicing with the team, and that's the difference between last year and this year. And I think there was an article in the paper today. The guys you took from the portal last year at the defensive back spot, Jacques Bernard Converse made perhaps the biggest interception of the year last year when he picked off Bryce Young in the south end zone.
Absolutely.
Opening drive of the game. Alabama's just going right down the field, and then the interception in the end zone there. Mekhi Gardner and those guys. Now you took 4 guys out of the portal. The guy from Ohio State, J.K. Johnson, he's been hurt. The 2 guys I just referenced, Deuce and Denver Harris, they're not even practicing. And Zy Alexander's got an injury. So this could be a storyline of the ultimate guys that were called upon, shined in the biggest moment, or it could be back in August, what did we say was the biggest question mark on this team was the cornerback spot, and it's going to hurt them in the ultimate game. It's going to be either one of those 2 things. So it's a cliche to say it's important to get the lead early and play from ahead, but I really think in this case, LSU getting a lead and playing from ahead and putting Alabama's offense on the field and making those guys throw and putting the pressure on them is going to be a big difference, as opposed to if LSU turns the ball over, they get a cheap touchdown and LSU's playing from behind on the road. I think that's going to be a huge difference in this game.
The bye week, were you aware that Mekhi Wingo was hurt? Is it surprising to hear that he's missing time? I mean, I don't expect him to miss the game at all, right?
I don't think so. Last week I gotta be honest. I mean, I heard the injuries, but didn't pay a whole lot of attention to them because it's Army and you got a bye week and you got a lot of time to get these guys back. So yeah, I think that was the biggest surprise. I think Wilson Alexander asked a follow up on that to Kelly, and so I would have to think that. I mean, he's got lower leg injury was the way he described it. I would have to hope he'd be back. I guess we'll find out more. The Monday press conference, and then the Wednesday teleconference, and then the Thursday meeting with the media. So it's that's not what you want. But also on the other side of the ball, I think the Alabama game has meant a lot to LSU in terms of the Heisman Trophy. In 2015, Leonard Fournette certainly was going to be a finalist, I thought.
For sure. I mean, at least get invited to New York, right?
Right.
I mean, make the trip.
I mean, he was kind of out in front, in my opinion.
Very much.
And then, I had heard some things about that week and trying to mix up some offensive play calling, and the head coach saying, I think we can run it right at him. And, running into a steel wall for 3. And I always hate that for Leonard, because when they always show his highlights from LSU, the Alabama fans immediately chime in and say, well, show the Alabama highlights now, and I just felt his coaching staff really let him down in terms of how he could have been utilized. But, and then Derrick Henry has a huge game on the other sideline. It's kind of like taking the baton from him. The Heisman's mine now. Right. And then in Burrow's case, he was really heading towards the Heisman, but I think when he ran for that first down and did this, that was kind of the
moment,
the Heisman moment. Okay, it's his. So, Jaden, I think this is a big game. Obviously, if he goes over there and he shines in this game and throws for over 300 yards and rushes for 100 or does whatever, I think that could really catapult him into the serious discussion.
Do you think that they have to win? Would it also take a victory for him to be in the Heisman conversation? Because a lot of it's been, well, they have 2 losses. That's why he's been kind of out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, good question. Did Tebow go 8-4 the year he won the Heisman? I think he did.
Did he?
2007 when LSU won. That's when he won the Heisman, right? 2007. Yeah. I think they went 8-4. They lost to LSU. They lost to Auburn. They lost to some other people. So, and to go way back. Somebody, I was having a conversation at the gym yesterday about how Jerry Stovall got hosed way back when, that they gave it to Paul Hornung.
61 or something.
Yeah. Like he was 2-8 Notre Dame, and Stovall, came in second. But anyway, I think that, I think if you lose and you got 3 losses, that's kind of tough. I mean, that's not Jaden's fault that they gave up 55 points at Ole Miss. The Florida State game looks bad, and you lost 45-24. So, I don't know. That's a good question. I think just try to remove all doubt. I think what Coach Kelly said yesterday is true. You take care of what you can control, and that other stuff takes care of itself on the individual awards. But, if he loses a shootout and he puts up huge numbers, what does that mean?
Right.
That's a good question.
What do you do in the bye week? Are you able to shift focus a little bit here? Do you catch any basketball, catch up on basketball? Do you get to – Jay Johnson just signs a long-term contract. How do you use the bye week?
Well, I think we've got Thursday night. In years past, I would have never paid attention to. I'd say never. We would have gone and covered it for a bit. But a women's basketball exhibition against East Texas Baptist. I think we're going to go live there Thursday because this is the first time you'll see Kim Mulkey's 2023-2024 squad in a competitive atmosphere. I mean, they could have 8,000-9,000 fans there with the tickets they've sold, right? There's this hockey team, the Baton Rouge Zadikos, starting up Thursday. I did get a chance to go out and catch some scrimmage action with the baseball team on Sunday. Get a chance to go out there a little bit. I think they've got another scrimmage coming up. We're shooting some video. We are going to have a half-hour special to preview the LSU-Alabama game a week from Thursday. It'll be 6:30 the Thursday before the game on Channel 9. So we're shooting some stuff for that. It's funny to hear some of the old Nick Saban stories. Benny Brazil tells us, this is a quick one. So Benny Brazil, track star, football wide receiver, kind of hit his stride in his last year with Les Miles in 2005 with Jamarcus Russell. Caught some touchdowns that year and stuff. But he's telling a story about how in 2004, he's going to the Olympic trials. Got a chance to be on the Olympic team in Athens, Greece, running the 400-meter hurdles. And Saban is not happy with that. He said, Coach told me I could run track, but, now he says I can't run track, And so Saban's like, get your ass back here. We got summer workouts. So he goes over and he goes out for the Olympic trials. He's a big underdog. He's like in the top 30. Somehow he makes the Olympic team. Coach, man, I made the Olympic team. I'm going to be in Athens, Greece at the Olympics. We got summer workouts. Get your ass back here as soon as you can. So he goes and he runs, and Dennis Shaver tells me that, the sweat hasn't dried on Benny's forehead and his cell phone rings, and it's Nick Saban. You tell Benny to get his ass back here to Baton Rouge for summer workouts. He's like, we're like in a totally different time zone. He's like, Saban must be up on his couch at 3 a.m. watching the Olympics, telling us to get back. So Benny's like, can you believe this? And so he gets back and he says, I'm watching the local news like the next week, and somebody asked Coach Saban about Benny Brazil, and we're so proud of Benny and everything he's accomplished and represent the U.S. And he's like, come on, Coach, you've been on me all.
We supported him the whole time.
We supported the whole time.
Stayed up late and watched it.
Yeah,
it's great for the program.
Right. And at the time, let's be honest, Benny wasn't a huge part of the team, Yeah. So that just goes to show you the relentless attention to detail. Yeah. And, I heard the story about him chewing out Sam Nader, of all people.
Sam Nader, that's right.
Sam Nader, don't shoot the recruits. Don't shoot video. Sam Nader, nicest guy in the world. They just won the national championship against Oklahoma. and he's berating Sam Nader in the locker room because they're behind on their recruiting schedule. Like, we got to hit the ground running in the morning. We've missed out on all this. And Scott Woodward and the other guys are like, did we just win the national championship? Did that just really happen? I mean, I remember being there. And Matt Mock, Michael Clayton, like 30 minutes after they won, Saban's like, okay, I need to know, you guys coming back next year or not for your senior year? I need to know right now, you know. Kyle Williams telling me they were getting off the bus at the hotel. Some assistant and his wife, they're about to go to Bourbon Street. Saban says, I don't know where you think you're going, but we got a recruiting meeting coming up here in 30 minutes up in the hotel. You know, just won the national title. Right. Can you imagine? I can imagine the wife of whoever coached. You know, my husband, you have berated him for the last, you know, he's worked 25 hours a day. We win the national title and we can't enjoy this for an hour. Are you kidding me? But those are the stories you hear.
Well, so how do you make the trip next weekend?
Yeah, we're going to go over on Friday morning over there. It's one of those things where I hate going there, but I also love going there. It's a weird
relationship.
Yeah. I mean, look, everybody, including LSU's, got their obnoxious fans, but you go there sometimes and you lose a game. I always tell the story that 2015 game when LSU goes over there undefeated and they're number 2 in the playoff, and you know they get whipped. Mm-hmm. And the next morning we're in Meridian, Mississippi. I'm in line at the little breakfast thing, and I got on a purple and gold, red rock and blue shirt, and I can feel the eyes hitting me out of the corner of my eye. There's some older lady, and she walks over. I'm like, please don't talk to me. She comes up. We're really sorry about your team. So, yeah, you're really sorry about my team. You just wanted to engage a little bit. Let me know.
Let me see if he'll bite.
Then there's another couple up at they're checking out. And the lady goes, did you two have a nice stay? Oh, we had a wonderful stay. Not everybody in your hotel's in a good mood this morning. So those kind of things are just like, God, you know, just, you ever wonder, like Nick Saban takes a look around and says,
no doubt he does.
I brought my greatness to this place. No doubt. This is the fan base that I gave my greatness to.
He lives in his lake house in Georgia. I mean, he rents in Tuscaloosa. Nobody wants to hear that.
And look, once again, that's a nugget of them, I guess. There's like a great Alabama guy lives in my neighborhood that I'm friends with, and there's a lot of people that aren't that way. But that kind of gets pushed to the forefront, just like the stupid Cajuns down here are kind of referenced as the LSU fans, and I grew up in Lafayette, so I'm not separating myself from that. I've been called stupid Cajun a lot myself, so it's just the Arkansas fans. I guess anywhere in the South, right?
Right, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. But I mean, no better face of it than an Alabama fan. I know Jacques has to be politically correct now in his presidential status, but let me say it for him.
I don't know if there's a school that has more of, I didn't go here, I'm a fan of this school.
Exactly.
One time I went, it was 2007, I went over there, and I was pandering, okay. I showed like some guy, and he had just bought a Walmart flag, Alabama flag at Walmart. And he's like, this right here is Alabama. And he points at it. Then I showed like some Jeep driving down the main drag playing Elvira. Elvira, ba-boom, bump, ba-boom, bump. And I showed those two things. My mom was like, you're just like that guy that comes to Louisiana and shows the guy in the swamp. And it shows that's Louisiana. I'm like, yeah, you're right. That was not objective.
So, wait, Jacques, I know obviously you're dialed into Louisiana, LSU, Saints, Pelican, Southern, all of South Louisiana sports. Have you seen this Michigan story of this?
I was kind of listening to it about it on the radio when I was driving over today, and I guess it's kind of like Sean Payton against Roger Goodell. Jim Harbaugh's kind of gone up against the NCAA, and they're like, okay, we'll show you.
Yeah.
So
make an example out of you.
yeah. I mean, so is it petty? Does it make a big difference? I mean, it seems like that there's a strong correlation between Michigan's success and wins and losses and this thing that's been going on.
There's a piece of video that came out yesterday that Tham will put out, and Dellinger's on top of the Ohio State game, where Ohio State is clearly changing the play at the line of scrimmage, and they're looking over at the sideline, and in the back of the shot, they have this guy, Connor Stallions, who is like, I mean, he is like staring at the sideline, and as soon as the quarterback kind of gets the call, he hand signals to the defense, and like 6 or 7 people on the sideline start doing the hand signal with him, and the ball snap. I mean, like, and as soon as the ball is snapped, they know exactly where the ball. It is. It's pretty damning.
That play was a touchdown, though.
Yeah, they still scored, but and then you have the picture that came out of him on the sidelines. Everybody's walking around, and he's staring intently just at the other sideline. Like every other coach is moving to one side of the ball.
He bought tickets for other games.
He was buying tickets for SEC games.
Yeah, he went to there's actually like the Tennessee volunteer message board, like would be equivalent to Tiger droppings. There, I think it's VolQuest is the name of it. There was like a report in December of 2022. You know, it was like the typical message board
fodder.
Post. My brother works for, has somebody who works at Michigan, but the kid was from Nashville and was like, Harbaugh has him like coming in scouting and like gave like the deal, like you can't talk to Harbaugh about it. Like Harbaugh has to be able to claim ignorance on it. But it's a
he had the blueprint, but nobody believed him.
A very well devised plan. Yeah, like he like spit it out, and like everybody was like, "Get the hell out of here!"
That's unbelievable,
right? But I mean,
it's true.
They're guilty. You could tell. Like,
because he had tickets to the Penn State game and didn't go.
Yeah, he had the Penn State Ohio State tickets, and
did they not scout TCU?
Yeah, they scouted TCU, Tennessee, and Georgia.
Yeah, okay. And Kirby Smart was like, I mean, I guess they scouted us. I guess they had the scout on us, but the score doesn't say that.
Well, I'm not saying that what they did is okay, and I'm not supporting it, but I'm just wondering, in an era where everyone has a cell phone and everything's being videoed, and
I'd imagine it's very easy to do this.
Yeah, I mean,
it can't be this complex, where I mean, like
and you watch coaches on the sideline, they hold up their piece of paper or their flip to cover their mouths when they speak now, because they know cameras are capturing them what they're saying and whatever. So I know, like the LSU spring game, I've heard, they don't want to do a spring game because, I mean, even if they're running the most vanilla stuff in the world, there's coaches up there watching.
I will say this, and I want to be careful how I say this, because I think that what they're doing over there is pretty good stuff, and really good stuff with the path and the behind the scenes in the build-up. The first part of the season, it was fantastic in the information they were giving you. Over the last couple of weeks, somebody internally has obviously said, we're turning this into a human, like a human interest piece. Like, you find one player that you want to highlight, but all this behind the scenes in the meeting rooms and getting the like, that is over. Yeah. And I have nobody that has told me that, but nobody has to, because I'm watching. And you can tell somebody has said, that's it, pull the plug on any of this stuff of injuries, of, like
behind the scenes,
who's playing, practice.
We're not voluntarily doing a Hard Knocks.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
It's going to be more about
we still control the content here.
The player goes to the local church or goes to the local food bank or,
Have you met Jaden's little brother?
Yeah.
Major Burns loves LSU.
Not going to talk about flooding the zone and,
right.
This receiver picks off this guy to open up this.
We're showing Mason Smith on the practice
field.
Still
a great product. Mm-hmm. Still great production. The storylines have obviously changed for sure.
Well, it's a writer's strike.
The writer's strike.
That's right. Everybody affected by it. All right, so high school football here is coming down the stretch. We're well into the district play. So as the
week
new
9.
So is it week 9?
This week is week 9.
Oh,
there's 2 weeks left in the regular season, and then we're in the playoffs.
That is heartbreaking.
Yeah, it really flies by for high school.
It's incredible how fast it goes.
Now, the high school postseason is the longest in correlation to the regular season, if that makes sense. So like the regular season is 10 games, and then the postseason takes you like 4 or 5.
Yeah, I think it's 5. If you make it to the Dome, I think it's 5 weeks.
Yeah, so your postseason is like half as long as your regular season. But, I mean, there's going to be a lot of teams that are going to be done playing here in a couple of weeks. And so
damn, that's crazy.
And just, me moving into this spot now, that's like one of the biggest things now is putting together the schedule each week for who goes where, and you can't send one guy to Kentwood and then your second game's at Episcopal. You gotta geographically line this stuff Steve's done for 40 years. So, but yeah. Ron Riggs.
Gas that thing up, Ron.
Long range Ron. We're had to come up with a nickname or something for him because we've sent him to Tangipahoa Parish a few times there.
Yeah, my man's at Kentwood sometimes.
Actually, Thursday, I think that's where he's going. I think Southern Lab in Kentwood. Huge game on Thursday.
Get your mind right, Ron. Get ready.
So he is paid. He is on the clock. But yeah, he does have to go a little ways. Oh man. But
I can hear him saying that. You do need to. You'll have an excellent Ron impersonation if you can get him to talk.
Well,
there's one to be done.
Well, it's kind of like, hey Ron, how'd your games go tonight? Good. I said, you shot them games well? You got the touchdowns? Yes, sir. I'm like, all right, we're gonna take a look.
Man, a few words.
How's his work?
He has improved tremendously. Now, when he came in, obviously he didn't know but about shooting.
Yeah.
We sent him out to a U-High game to practice, and he was far away from the action. It was shaky. He didn't understand about shooting cutaways. Now he's up in there. The shots are a lot tighter. He's following the action. Still got to clean some stuff up, like Sean Payton would say. Got to clean that up.
Look, listen.
Right? We're 3-0.
I mean,
got a long way to go.
I was listening to Mickey Loomis last night, and the how much they sound alike when they talk it's crazy.
Mickey's got that.
He still has kind of that little.
I like our players. Our players that we've drafted. He's got that kind of. I don't know where
he does start everything with look, listen, and it's obvious when he doesn't like the question. He'll start with, "That's a good question."
It's a good question.
It's a good question.
Yeah, I told that story before, but one of my favorite Peyton. So they had blown that game at Detroit several years. Won the 7-9 season. Had a big lead at Detroit. They blow it. They lose. So Sal Palantonio's in the audience.
That's right. I remember
he's like
this.
Asking him why he didn't punt. They went for it on 4th down and they didn't make it. And so Peyton's like
squaring off with him.
3.5 minutes to go when they got 3 timeouts. That's like 7.5 minutes. Next question. Next smart question.
That's right.
And then you can hear Palantonio off the mic. To flip the field? To flip the field? And Peyton's not even staring off. So I kind of miss Peyton in that regard.
Me too, man. I do too.
He told me I got the boob question of the day one time.
What did you ask him?
They were playing Pittsburgh. It was 2010. It was on Halloween. It was a Sunday night game, prime time. And Pittsburgh, they initially ruled the guy caught it and ran in for a touchdown, but he slid down at the 1-inch line. Like you could not have been closer to scoring a touchdown without, by being down. And so Peyton challenged it. And he won the challenge. So it's 1st and goal at the 1-inch line as opposed to, well, sure enough, there's like a penalty, and the Saints pull off a goal line stand. I'm actually trying to compliment him that nothing is given, nothing's for granted. And I'm like, can you talk about, challenging that and, getting bumped? And he's like, well, if we don't challenge it, it's a touchdown. You get the boob question of the day. And I'm just like, all right. And this was like 1 week after the Les Miles, Tennessee press conference when I went in there. And,
JD's on a heater.
Yeah, when I was, just talking a million miles an hour. I'm high on Jack 3D workout supplements or whatever going in there.
His voice was shaking.
Yeah. Coach, you're thrilled about that victory. Everyone else is mad, whatever I said. And this happened the week after. I'm like, golly, this is not too
good. I need to stop taking this.
Yeah. Dude, I need to go sit in the back and just let everyone else ask questions. But yeah, I got a few Peyton stories, but that was a couple.
Yeah, right. I do miss Peyton in the press setting. He was great. All right, JD. Good to see. Have you felt the weight of the new move yet? Like you mentioned, kind of sending people out to the camera.
It's a different job.
Like you feel it now.
It's a different job. Yeah. It's a, and that's what I got to figure out because in previous years, Steve allowed me to just go out and just run around and just get as much content as I could, and I just wanted to pump out as much content and cover as much stuff. And now I have to I have to move a little slower. I got to dial it. I got to kind of always looking ahead, the calendar, what's tomorrow, and be in a managerial position, which I joke about. I'm like, my 8th grade year, I won one thing. Everyone else is most likely to succeed, best looking, beta club. My high school senior year, I won one thing. Everyone's getting scholarships and this and that. Wittiest boy is what I got. Wittiest boy. And we get in the car afterwards, and my dad's like, people are getting straight A's and honor roll and going to this and that. And what do you get? Wittiest boy. Bull bleep. You're the class clown is what you are. That's exactly right. I get sent to the office for impersonating my teachers and making fart noises on the desk and doing all that stuff. And now I'm in charge of the sports department at a big city of Baton Rouge. It's kind of like blows my mind. My teachers back in high school are probably like, what? So I remember one time, I was cutting up in class, and some girl in class was like, oh, yeah, well, can't wait to see him after high school. And the substitute teacher that day was like, somehow people like him make it. Somehow people like him make it, like begrudgingly,
Right.
Nothing we can do to stop
I'm
it.
a rule follower, and look at me. And people like him are going to be running sports departments one day.
So, hey, man,
boy.
I'm the longtime assistant coach. I'm just hoping I'm better than Dennis Allen's been so far. That's what
indeed.
I hopefully I'm going to do my very best. That's all I can say.
Bro, it's going to be great. JD every Wednesday here with us. We always look forward to it. WAFB Sports Director. You can follow him on social media at Jacques Doucet. We'll be back with more of the show right after this. Come back as we are built every single day by R&B Builders.
Malik Neighbors, a wide receiver.
Favorite pregame meal?
Popeyes.
What would winning a national championship mean to you?
It would mean a lot to me because, we seen a lot of the greats come through here, won their national championship, got, remembered for life.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Probably fly. That or telekinesis.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received?
Do it wrong, do it long. Do it right, do it light.
Kyle Lacey, wide receiver, number 2.
Do you have any nicknames?
K2.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever been given?
Stay humble.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Fly. I be flying in my dreams.
What's been the highlight of your partnership with us?
The bike giveaway was one of the best things. I was pretty excited about that one. Texas A&M, I just got a point to prove because last year I dropped 2 balls I should have caught. I'm coming for them for real.
That's it. Thank you, man.
My name is Harold Perkins, and I play linebacker.
What's your favorite pre-game meal or snack?
Pasta with a little steak, something that's not too heavy.
Any superstitions or pre-game rituals?
I pray a lot. Just be me and God before the game. Perky worky. I like when they call me the percolator. I like that.
If anyone gets in a wreck, who should they call?
Gordon.
Thanks. Where were you born at, Greg?
Hattiesburg, Mississippi. But I claim 504 food because I was raised there my whole life. Favorite type of food is spaghetti. But you need to try spaghetti with some corn on the side. Funniest person, I'd probably get Kyron Lacey. He be having me joked out every time I talk to him.
Who's the most athletic?
Besides myself, Perk or Malik. Future self, just take one day at a time, one step at a time. If you're doing something, just be where your feet are. Make sure you give 100% effort.
What is something on your bucket list?
Win a Super Bowl. That's definitely on my bucket list.
If you could have one superpower, what would it be?
Time traveling.
Who's the fastest on the team?
Like in a short span, I would say quick trigger, I'm taking Perk. One thing most people don't know about me, probably that I moved 12 times growing up, 12 different states.
Who's the most savage on the team?
Mason Smith. Mason Smith, definitely.
And who gets it done?
Gordon.
Thank you, man. That's great.
Emory Jones, right tackle.
What's the best piece of advice you've ever received?
Got it from my mom, and she just told me, always keep your head on the swivel.
Favorite subject?
Math, easy. I kind of keep it light. Give me some type of red beans or something like that. Throw a little cornbread on the side.
Light with red beans.
Yeah, just a little bit. I am superstitious. I got some PSDs that's purple and yellow and white. I wear them every game. I feel like they my lucky draws, and you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna keep doing it.
Head health is incredibly important for our student athletes. One of the best ways we're trying to address concussions is on the front end. We're trying to prevent these before they happen. And a big part of that is speaking to the athletes, letting them know what to expect. Okay, speaking to the parents, what to look out for, talking to the coaches so they know the vital importance. Some of the big things we're looking for with a concussion, which is, you know, a traumatic brain injury, is one, was there a mechanism? Was there an injury that took place that could lead to this? Often a direct blow to the head, a head-to-head hit. If someone's showing signs of concussion, our first step is always to remove them from activity, get them to a place where there's less stimuli, where we can really just sit down and get a feel for the athlete, what they're feeling. We're looking for headache, we're looking for dizziness, any sign that coordination is off, that something's just not right. Get a good evaluation of them to understand what's going on. It's not worth the risk that may be there to kind of ignore it, because there are very serious consequences if we don't treat a concussion properly.
Don't let concerns about shifts in the market disrupt your long-term financial goals. Edward Jones financial advisor Daniel Newman can help. He'll work with you on an investment strategy for long-term results. Edward Jones can give you the tools and knowledge for a steady approach to hitting your financial targets. Get started today by calling Daniel Newman at 225-261-8262. 225-261-8262. Edward Jones, member SIPC.
Belmont Stakes Race Training. I'm sticking to roofing. Roof, roof. Go roof.
Phil's Oyster Bar, a staple of South Louisiana since 1945, located in Southdown Shopping Center and online at philsoysterbar.com. If you log online, you can learn about the private party schedule, the catering menu, and even order online. Daily lunch specials Monday through Friday. Learn about the history when Gus Piazza took it over in the early 70s, made it an absolute stop-in for everyone who came through Baton Rouge, and now Anthony, his son, carrying on the tradition. Phil's Oyster Bar, Southdown Shopping Center, and online, philsoysterbar.com.
All right, buddy. Make it a good shot. Oh, yeah.
Sticking the roofing. For a hole in your roof, for a whole new roof, go roof. Roof, roof, go roof.
As primary care sports physicians, the things we think about the most with our athletes from a medical standpoint usually involves the head, the climate, and the heart. We have to be very careful about participating in sports when it is safe, but also having the proper equipment to take care of them if we are worried about the athletes. So here in Louisiana, obviously heat can be a big problem. Things that I think about as a primary care sports medicine physician is that it's safe enough for our athletes to participate. And there are certain regulations that we follow here at Ochsner, but throughout the entire state, to make sure it is safe for our athletes to participate. When we think about concussion, we have to really recognize those symptoms from the forefront, and that becomes a cultural issue as well. As for the heart, screening exams are by far the most important thing that we can think about. We go through a series of questions, but also listen to the athlete's heart and ask about family history and other symptoms they may have had in the past. By doing so, we can identify and potentially screen out athletes to make sure that they are safe to participate in the sports that they love to do.
All right, welcome back here to a Wednesday edition of the Jordy Culotta Show. As always, we are powered by and built by our friends over at RMB Builders. Appreciate Jacques for stopping by here live on this Wednesday morning, as it is bye week here for LSU, as Tigers will have the weekend off and then back in it for, obviously, preparation for Alabama game next week. We'll be on top of all of it. We'll be bringing you that perspective as LSU and Alabama square off for another primetime matchup between the Tigers and the Tide. Also, NBA got going last night. Basketball season right around the corner here. As Jacques said, the LSU women going to tip off. LSU men going to tip off here. This Jalen Cook story with the LSU men is what I'm waiting on.
Getting worse?
To find out.
Any news?
I mean, no news is bad news, dude. Mm-hmm. I mean, what could take so long? Like, to just tell me yes or no if the guy can play after he transferred over from Tulane.
A lot on the plate over there, Coach.
You think this might be like a Tez Walker situation where LSU might have to put a little press on, and then they're like mid-season, they're like, oh, he can play.
I just
don't let him play the first 2 months.
That's what I was thinking. Is after you have now you have precedent with the Tez Walker situation. Like, what are you doing? Why are you your job for the NCAA or whatever? Why are you actively making this kid's life worse? You're supposed to. You're there to help. First of all,
yeah, that's the part.
They are not here to help. Actually.
No, but that's like what I would imagine the mission statement is. No, it's whatever about student athletes, and we're here to go pro in something other than sports. But when's the last time somebody was ruled academically ineligible? Like, that doesn't even happen anymore. That used to be like something you'd have to actually be concerned about.
Drop 48?
Right. It was always, I don't know about his academics.
John?
Right. That's the only one in maybe the last 2 years, but the same person.
Yeah.
Twice.
Yes. He's not academically ineligible.
No, he was.
Doesn't go.
he was in 2021, though, for those first, 2 games or whatever.
Did he had a?
Or was it the whole season?
He missed a whole year.
Yeah, 2021 was the whole year.
Couldn't get it, and then we got those squared away, as Kurt said, and then it was he's not at practice because he has to finish a internship. St. John.
I wonder where he had an internship at.
I'm like, who's not going to let me?
Don't you worry about that.
This is mandatory.
I need to know where this internship was.
But
let me see those service hours.
Yeah. Did you sign off on this? I didn't know he worked for the Culotta Show.
40 hours a week, full-time guy. What do you want me to do?
We went from him.
Man, I was producing the show. What are you talking about?
Good standing over here. But like for the Tez Walker
situation, benefits.
Yeah, he's working overtime. Sound off on this for me, for my teacher. Whatever you have the Tez Walker situation, though, to bring it back to Jalen Cook, that's your precedent right there. Is to you already kind of put your own name through the mud if you're the NCAA, where it became you got pressed by the head coach of the football team. It became very public, and then you're like, what are we doing? I think we have to tuck tail on this. And then they still blamed North Carolina, saying that they didn't like the tone in which they filed for paperwork. And it was just just accept it. You don't have a job, but you keep getting paid, so don't
like the tone.
I gotta go to work today, honey.
Can we sit down and can we tell you everything we don't like about you?
Yeah, do you have time?
I mean, don't like our tone. Just the NCAA, I just don't get it. I really don't. I just cannot believe they have the authority.
They must have office next.
Well, now you're about to find out about their authority with this Michigan thing. Like, Michigan could once again go, we're good.
Yeah. Suspend Harbaugh.
Harbaugh. Like, no, he's going to coach. I think he wants to go to the NFL. But, I mean, they got rid of their guy. But that might be all they do. Like, nothing's going to happen this year. The NCAA doesn't move fast enough.
Yeah. No, it'll be like
10 and they're the number one team in the number
they're going
to
be in the national championship.
It'll be like 2033, and it'll be like,
remember that Harbaugh story?
Yeah, remember that Michigan thing? Like, Harbaugh won't even be the coach there. They're going to penalize the current coach there.
Yeah, they're going to sanction the school.
Yeah, the current
Harbaugh's going to be coaching the Saints.
Like, okay, cool.
I'd take it.
Yeah, I'd take that too, but I'm just saying,
Usually
it's the future teams that get penalized before
that had
the
nothing
current
to do
team.
with it.
Coach, I was 7 years old. Like, I wasn't even watching Michigan at the time.
Right.
I remember that story.
I didn't even know Michigan had a football team then.
I remember my dad talking about this because he lost some money.
And you're about to see that there's been some pretty funny, like pretty damning evidence of what Michigan does whenever they don't have the advanced scouting reports that they've been getting.
Yeah, no, they've been cheating their ass off.
Yeah, and relying on this heavily.
Yeah, right. This is a huge part of their plan.
Have you looked at their scores from the last 2 years?
It's obvious.
The last 3 years.
And the best, piece of evidence as well combating it is that their recruiting hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it's gotten that much different. Where you're scooping up these different players. It's a bad spot. I mean, they are in a bind for sure.
Michigan is currently 14th on the On3 industry rankings.
In recruiting? Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's where they hover every year.
Right. Like J.J. McCarthy is the fact that he's been mentioned as a Heisman candidate is absurd. It's insane. I don't think he's been that good. Like he pops once every now and again, but now you can't have that as a storyline either because he's cheating.
Since 2020, Michigan number 10 class in 2020. Let's see, 2021. The number 14 class in 2021.
It's not. It doesn't make sense.
And their Michigan's worst year was
number 9 class in 2022. Jesus.
But
this is bad.
If this is his play on the way out, just to kind of scorched earth the NCAA, I love it.
Double birds.
I love it. You know what I mean? Not only have we been cheating and stealing signs, we've been doing that for a long time. You think we've just been doing it for 2 years? And that's just the stuff that we've been doing in public.
Number 18 class.
Be like the Distinguished Gentleman, Eddie Murphy, one of his underrated great
that's a pretty
flicks.
good movie.
It's a brilliant flick. But as he goes in front of Congress, and he was talking about when he was a con man, he was he thought he was getting away with stuff. I mean, it wasn't half the stuff he was getting away with when he was a congressman. I mean, he was like, this is where all the cons are done. He was like, I've been doing it like these civilians out here, like the hard way. Yeah. I didn't know you guys in suits were running cartels up here.
Picked the wrong career path.
Right.
And when you look at Hunter Fournette brought this up in the chat, the 2020 Michigan season, whenever you couldn't go to games, 2-4.
Yeah, I mean,
you couldn't advance scout. You couldn't. There was nobody allowed in the crowd.
Michigan signed a worse recruiting class than Auburn last year.
Oh wow,
that's tough.
Yeah, Auburn was on his way out.
Yeah, Auburn was 17 and Michigan was 18. Recruiting rankings.
The Chris Olave video came out last night. I didn't know why you needed to put that out.
I play for the same. Yeah, that police department hadn't tweeted or posted any videos on their YouTube since 2020 or 2021.
That's kind of
and
ridiculous.
They posted that.
I mean, really and truly, the first thing I thought was all right. I mean, does everybody want their speeding ticket violation body cam footage put out? Right. And I mean, to be quite honest, if I'm being honest, and if you want to turn on me, sweet. The fact that if he wouldn't have said it, I thought it would have been a story. I mean,
right.
You're getting pulled over in Kenner. You're one of the top 4 players on the Saints team. I'm sure that the guy does recognize you, but is doing his job like he should be. And you put it out there and you see it doesn't work. All right. You know why superstars and celebrities do that in those moments? Because of the amount of times that it does work.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why they do it.
Play for the Saints.
I mean, do you know who I am? Yes, I do. That's why I'm going to take these handcuffs off of you, sir, ma'am. I loved you on that show. I loved your song. I love you in that game. And no harm, no foul.
Enjoy the rest of your night.
Right? Can you sign this for my kid?
That would have been great if it had a
But
I'll take a ball in the car.
I'll take it one step farther to say if the Saints are performing well, you probably get to drop the Olave, and it's like,
I'd even go another step. If it was Shaheed, he might have gotten off.
Yeah. I'd have been able to run from him.
I mean, hey, Olave, we've been waiting on you, all of us.
Yeah, we don't like that.
Get in the back of the car.
Yeah, you're quitting
the
on
boys
route.
The boys down at the Clink been waiting to get a word with you as well.
But that's what it really feels like, is they put it out because the Saints aren't playing well. Like, the whole city is kind of – this is what happens with anything kind of Louisiana athletically.
Absolutely.
You're so invested in it that when it goes poorly, you get this upset, and it's, oh, look, we're going to embarrass him.
Right. And, I mean, like –
because the cop right thought he was clever.
The memes were great.
It was. I mean, it's hilarious.
Is that Chris Olave going full speed?
Yeah. Finally.
But I mean, I thought the video was unnecessary, and really and truly, I would have been mad at Olave if he didn't ask him. Like, do you know I play for the Saints? No.
And?
Right. I mean, it was kind of an epic response.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He's proud of himself. So let's put this out there. People need to see it.
All right. So good stuff. Make sure and hit that like button, share button, comment button. We appreciate you being here. Remember, if you have not hit that thumbs up while watching, go ahead. If you have not subscribed and you're here, hit that subscription for us. We'll be back with you tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Jordy Culotta Show, built by RMB.
Monday through Friday from 7 to 9. Yeah, you see the notification, we about to go live. We got all your favorite guests, we got them in line. It's the Jordy Culotta Show, come have a good time. It's the hottest show around, we ain't gotta flex. Call up G, we get it done, we earning our respect. Tell recruits to let us in, where they going next. Throw up the L's, now we lit, band playing neck. From the boot to the east to the west coast. No matter where we at, we live, mic'd up for show.